Hello, my name is Christina Long and I am in TBUS 400A. This video will be answering the following questions about competitive advantage and generic strategies. To begin with the first question, the two core trade-offs that firms must make in order to achieve competitive advantage are first, to raise customers' willingness to pay for its products, and secondly, reducing supplier opportunity cost without sacrificing this willingness to pay. Through utilizing these approaches, a company is able to widen the gap and thus have a higher competitive advantage. As stated in the reading, a firm that has competitive advantage is one that has added value, which is why it is important to comprehend these trade-offs and how they work together effectively. The logic behind a firm creating competitive advantage can be broken down into two categories as well. The first need to create an advantage is that a firm must configure itself to do something unique and valuable. This would allow the company to ensure it is not easily replaceable. For example, the firm must ensure that were it to disappear, someone in its network of suppliers, customers, and complements would miss it and no one could replace it completely. An example to demonstrate this is to think about Apple Watches. They seem innovative and as if they have the top of the line technology. However, brands such as Samsung and other brands, other phone companies, have started creating their own version of these watches, which do the same basic functions of the Apple Watch. While some customers have brand loyalty to Apple, which is driving them to purchase the Apple Watches, if the watches were to go away, they could hypothetically switch to another watch, which does the exact same functions. Secondly, competitive advantage arises when the full range of a firm's activities act in harmony. This means a company would want to find an integrated set of choices that distinguish a firm from its rivals. Moving on to the second question, dual advantage is difficult to achieve because it is rare and is typically based on operational practices across firms that are easily copied. When firms decide to utilize dual advantage, they are discovering ways to produce their products at a lower cost than their competitors. Typically, a company with dual advantage would stand out on all attributes and still have a cost position that helps its advantage. However, if not executed properly, this could be troublesome for the firm if the lower quality begins to affect the quality of the firm's products and/or reputation. For example, one of the readings touched on the idea that trade-offs are found in the activities themselves. So BMW, for example, cannot succeed in producing economy vehicles with its existing business model. Its choices in engineering, manufacturing, marketing, and distribution activities have made this very difficult. Another factor involved with dual advantage is that some believe that breaking the trade-offs between cost and willingness to pay, replacing trade-offs with trade-ons, is a fundamental way to transform competition in an industry. And for the last and final question to wrap up this whole video segment on competitive advantage and generic strategies is the concept of competitive advantage helps strategists understand and analyze within industry differences in performance. So it is helpful for analysis to look at a firm's competitive strategy and understand where they stand in relation to its rivals. As previously mentioned, where they stand in relation to their rivals really influences the way that a company can perform. A firm would have a competitive advantage over its rivals if it has driven a wide wedge between the amount its customers are willing to pay and the cost it incurs. Industry analysis is crucial to creating competitive advantage for a firm. A firm's competitive strategy that effectively helps their competitive advantage would have added value as well. It is important to keep in mind that the total value created by a transaction is the difference between the customer's willing to pay and the supplier's opportunity cost. A firm's relative cost analysis focuses internally on a firm's operations. Furthermore, it is important for strategists to understand the roots of performance differences both across and within industries. Value proposition analysis can be used as a reflection of the choices about the particular kinds of value the firm will offer. Compare this to value chain analysis and relative cost analysis, which focus internally on a firm's operations. Value proposition analysis looks outward at customers. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you learned something about competitive advantage and generic strategies.